Good morning, Marshall Reddick investors, and thank you for joining us for our webinar presentation today on multifamily units and apartment buildings. We are really excited today. We have two guest speakers from two of our best and most popular multi-unit markets, and we're also going to take a look at a couple of local properties. So let's dive right in. For those of you who are new to Marshall Reddick or are joining us for the first time, we are a full-service brokerage here in Southern California with our headquarters in Newport Beach. We have offices in Clarksville, Tennessee, San Antonio, and Austin, Texas, and most recently Cape Coral, Florida. And we're really excited to have, like I mentioned, two of our best agents on the line with us today. We are also a property management company, so we manage in all of those regions I just mentioned, as well as in some of our third-party markets where we also have teams established. And of course, we offer private lending and financing to our clients. So whether you are on the borrowing side or the lending side, we are able to help our clients in that realm as well. So we really are a full-service company that can help our clients from start to finish, keep everything in-house, and really make ourselves stand out as a one-stop shop for all of our clientele. Here's a little bit of information about me. My name is Christin Tabar. I'm a realtor and advisor here with Marshall Reddick Real Estate. I am quickly approaching my 5-year anniversary, so that's very exciting. In the last 5 years, I've worked on 294 transactions with my buyers and sellers across the nation. I myself own 10 units in the United States with my husband. And those pictures down at the bottom you see are from our trip to Cape Coral. It's been a couple of years now, and we are anxiously waiting our next trip down there. Unfortunately, we don't know when that may be, but as we start to slowly open back up again, we're hoping it's going to be soon. I had hoped to be able to include photos of a San Antonio trip, but unfortunately that was postponed from April. So when I get those, I'll be throwing them in there and have a lot more exciting things to talk about as I travel to our different investment markets. So here's a quick snapshot. I mentioned my husband and I have 10 units across the US, and here's a snapshot of our portfolio. We started investing together in 2011. The Arizona condo was purchased. I like to say BC because that was before Christin. But as you can see, we've had a lot of activity, including purchases, sales, hard money loans that we've done, and most recently, with the help of Terry Duffy and our team down in Florida, we've been able to build some duplex units and get those rented out and refinanced. So we are very actively involved in the real estate market, and I always like to say that I'm proud to practice what I preach, as I work intimately not only with my clients, with our agents out of state, but on my own portfolio with our agents out of state as well. So where are we located? Here is a map of the United States and a quick overview of where our markets are. So you can see the green boxes do indicate where we have Marshall Reddick brick and mortar offices. And San Antonio and Cape Coral would usually also be outlined in green. They are outlined in yellow because those are the markets that we're going to focus on. As I mentioned a little earlier, they are two of our best and most popular areas for multi-unit properties. So we are going to hear from our experts in both of those areas, look at some properties, and go into a little bit more detail about why we have selected these areas. And here you go. Here's your list. I'm not going to read this to you. I'm hoping that because you've joined us tonight, you are able to read and you can go through that list on your own. But there are some very critical criteria that Marshall Reddick look at when we're evaluating the markets that we're in and evaluating other markets in the United States based on their investment criteria, and it helps us to keep our markets fluid and to always keep us at the forefront of offering our clients really the best areas that we think their investments are going to be strong. So tonight, specifically, we're going to talk about multi-unit properties. So what advantage do they have over single families? Well, there's a couple of things that multi-unit families really lend themselves to: less competition, economies of scales, and of course, sometimes higher returns. So let's first talk about less competition. A duplex is not generally the target for a primary buyer. Most primary buyers across the nation are looking for a single family, often with a yard. Maybe it's a condo, maybe it's a townhome, but the duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, and above are usually going to be looked at by investment buyers. So they lend themselves to be a little bit less competitive in terms of how many people are in that buyer pool. It also definitely takes a client with a little bit more experience and someone who's willing to take on the risk to look at a multi-unit property. While you will have a reduced, perhaps vacancy risk where, if one tenant moves out of one of your units, you still have another 1 or 5 or 10 units that will continue to supplement your rental income. On that same token, you may be having a little bit more maintenance. You may be spending a little bit more in utilities or HOAs or things to that nature. So there's definitely a little bit more risk. And there's limited supply in many markets. I already mentioned that San Antonio and Cape Coral, Florida, were 2 of our most popular. And that's not only because the properties look the best, they're a little bit newer, they're a little higher quality, and they tend to give better returns, but also because in some of our other markets, the multi-unit space is either non-existent or is very, very difficult to get into. So that's what lends to the limited supply of multi-unit properties. So we'll jump into economies of scale. Again, I don't want to read every bullet point to you guys because I'm hoping you can read that on your own, but I will elaborate just a little bit. The more units you have, the price per square foot does tend to go down a bit. Also, depends on the market, depends on the area, but it is possible to get a really great deal on something that's larger that provides you with a good return and a good cap rate. The cost per unit decreases the more you have. Basically, when you have multiple properties, if you have a maintenance issue or a turnover, the other units are going to support the cost of that 1 or 2 where you are having the issue at the time. So if you live and die by one single family property, every single maintenance item, every turnover, every issue that you have is really going to hit you hard in the pocketbook. And that's the opposite when you start to get into multiple unit properties or owning multiple properties in general. And there also could be management discounts for the more units that you have with any particular manager. So if you have 10 units in Orange County and you work with a property management company whose usual fee is 7%, like Marshall Reddick's is, the higher volume you have, the higher number of units, the less of a monthly management fee you will actually pay on a monthly basis. So let's take a look at the numbers. There's 3 ways that you can calculate the returns on a property investment. Cap rate is the most commonly used equation for figuring out commercial or multi-unit properties. This is generally going to apply on 5+ units, as anything 4 and under is going to be classified as residential. Nonetheless, a lot of people like this. A lot of people like to see what the cap rate is on their properties. And then, of course, the cash-on-cash return and the return on investment. All 3 of these you will be able to find on the Marshall Reddick website on the financial calculator that is attached to each and every property. So let's talk about cap rate. This is going to be your net operating income divided by the value. So take a look at the numbers here. For easy math, we took an NOI of 100,000 and a value of $1 million. You divide those numbers into each other, and this gives you a cap rate of 10%. Please note, this does not include specifics for maintenance, vacancy, loan, mortgage, insurance, things to that nature. So again, going back to the other slide, it really does take someone who is very familiar and is willing to kind of get in there and take a look at the numbers to be able to calculate and determine if a multi-unit property of 5 or more units is the appropriate investment for them. This is a page right from our website, this is the financial calculator, and this is where you'll be able to see the return on investment, your cash on cash return, and your cap rate for any given property that you are looking at. So we'll talk real quick about your cash on cash return. This is going to be your cash flow for the year, annual cash flow divided by the amount you actually invested. So this is a very quick and dirty calculation to determine what the cash on cash return is for your property. So you'll see that in two places on the calculator. One is with fixed expenses only. So this is only going to include your mortgage, insurance, taxes, management fee, if there's an HOA, if there's any recurring utilities, things to that nature. The next cash on cash return number that you see, that 2.56%, this is where it's going to include your variables, maintenance, vacancy, leasing fee, to cover your future expenses. The bottom line is, at some point during the course of your ownership, you will experience some maintenance, some turnover, and other fees involved with placing new tenants. So we want to present that number so that our clients can get an accurate picture of what their property will look like after the course of holding it for many years. Next box down there, return on investment for this particular example is 19.35%, and that's going to be a total of all the numbers that you see above it. So that's going to take your accumulated cash flow, your appreciation, the principal pay down, and the expenses for selling, and give you that total profit of $530,000. Your return on investment is going to take into account all of those numbers and the number of years you've held that property. So on the financial calculator, this is a picture, so I can't show you live here on this webinar, but if you change that number of years held, you will see that the numbers will automatically adjust, and that return on investment is subject to change the longer that you hold on to a property such as this one. Bottom one there is cap rate. That's at 5.53%. Remember, all these numbers from cash on cash return with total expenses, your annual return on investment, and your cap rate, those are going to take into account our default numbers for maintenance, vacancy, and leasing fee. So keep that in mind as you're evaluating. Here's a picture of how we determine maintenance and vacancy percentages for those of you who have been on the website and aren't sure why there's a difference or how we arrive at that. It depends on the class of the property and, of course, the number of units. So the property classes A, B, C are determined by a few different factors. That's going to be your median home price, crime rate, school ratings, and the price per square foot in any given market. That is going to change from market to market. However, the number for the estimate of maintenance and vacancy is going to be consistent throughout, depending specifically on the property class. As you can see, 5 units and more, we assume a little bit more in maintenance, simply because at this point now you have more tenants, more people living in your property, and thus more probability that things will need repair. Vacancy is going to remain the same. For more information on how we arrive at those percentages and the methodology behind the property class ratings, I definitely encourage anyone who hasn't read it already to check out our Reddick property rating ebook. It's about a 20-minute read on the website, pictures, graphs, data. There's really something for everybody, and you can find that, as I said, as a free download on marshareddick.com. I'm going to touch really quickly on financing. For those of you who have bought 1 to 4 unit properties, you are probably familiar with this information. For those of you who have not, it is a 20% down requirement on a single family property. Anything 2 to 4 unit is going to require a 25% down. And for those types of purchases, you are going to be looking at a conventional type loan in most cases. This is going to qualify you off your own personal income, credit score, debt to income ratio, etc. For those of you out there who are looking at 5+ units, at this number of units in one property, you are going to be looking at a commercially structured loan where the property is going to do most of the qualifying, and there's going to be less of your own personal information at stake, but it will come into play and it will be important. And your minimum down payment on a commercial loan is also going to be at 25, sometimes 30%, depending on the lender and the organization that you're working with. All right, so now that you guys have heard me do plenty of talking, the first market we're going to look at tonight and the first properties we're going to see are going to be in San Antonio, Texas with Christina Dorier. She has been working with our Marshall Reddick clients for several years now. I will let her talk a little bit more about herself, but she was working with our clients prior to our opening our office, and we loved her so much that we invited her to join us, and we're so grateful that she did. She has a really in-depth knowledge of the San Antonio market and negotiates like a shark for all of our clients to really get them the best deals. And we are going to turn it over to you, Christina, without further ado, and look forward to hearing about the market and seeing some properties.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm so happy to be here today on our webinar. I just wanted to explain a little about myself. I am, a licensed realtor here in San Antonio, Texas. Been here all my life, so I'm very familiar with the San Antonio market. I do have 15 years mortgage lending experience before I became an agent, so I'm also very familiar with financing, numbers, breakdowns of the numbers, and then, of course, San Antonio market. So I'm actually married to my husband. He's military, so we're known as Military City. I'm also very familiar with the military community as well. So let me go ahead and go on to the next slide. And on Forbes magazine, San Antonio was ranked in the top 20 list of where to invest in. And so there's a lot of good reasons for that, but a lot of people from all over the country are realizing why it's such a good market in San Antonio to invest in. There are 4 military bases. It has Army and an Air Force bases. So that brings a lot of tenants that are military, so they're not really looking to buy, but they're looking to rent anywhere from 3 or 4 years at a time when they're stationed here. So that brings a good tenant pool from the military community. And then we're also a whole bunch of other type of job markets, not just military. We have high medical professionals, school teachers, warehousing workers, IT, financial. It's all diverse. It's very good. We have been increasing with our home values. Even during recession time, we've been increasing. So it's been an average of 7%, which is really good for the 1-year increase. And then 3-year price growth forecast is 20%. So that's really exciting, especially if you're interested in buying in Texas. This is a map or a grid of, showing back in the time, all the way back to 1995, how, the home values have increased. You could buy a house back then for $75,000. Even brand new in a good area. Each year, look at how fast that's been increasing in price. That same house now is worth almost $250,000. And I would like to point out, back during the 2008, 2009, 2010 timeframe when the market crashed, it hit really hard in other parts of the country, but it hardly affected Texas or San Antonio. It made a small dent. So it was less than 3%. So that's really great. And the values increased really fast after that. So we're pretty safe, during, recession timeframe. We've been proven to be very good, even during a recession timeframe. And then it shows on the bottom our property classes. There's property A class, B class, C class. And most of the properties we tend to sell happen to be in the A and the B category. So that's another good thing. And here's if you go on our website under marshallreddick.com, you can select your market, but under education, there's a tab that says education. And if you click on that, you actually can find the market that you're looking for, which you could click San Antonio. And we have a market data packet. It gives you all the information about our economics, demographics, job market, type of people that live here. It's really great information to have. if you're interested in looking at that. So I want to present my first property that I'm the actual listing agent on. This is a good community. It's a community. It's a small community. It's not a big neighborhood. It's only like 3 or 4 streets, and it has brand new duplexes that are being built. This is a Class A new construction duplex. It would actually be ready to close by the middle of July, which is our very busy time frame, by the way. And this is on the market for $379,900. Brand new, comes with a builder warranty. It includes all the appliances. Each unit has its own 2-car garage attached, which is wonderful. It's not tandem, it's an actual 2-car garage. And it feels more like a home instead of a duplex. Very spacious, got high ceilings, granite countertops. The flooring is amazing. It's a stained concrete flooring. So there's no carpet in any of the rooms. So they make this built for investors so that it can last, throughout the different tenants that you have. Each backyard is privately fenced in, comes with the sod and the grass all in the backyard, and the side of the property has a sprinkler system. And then the front yard is xeriscape. So the HOA maintains the front yards. The HOA maintains the street lights and the upkeep of the sidewalks. So that's another good thing about that. And then the garage doors do open automatically, has open, garage door openers. But this is a very nice property. And there's right now, the builder is building 6 at a time. So that makes sense because you don't want the builder building all these duplexes all at once and then you have all these vacant units. So we already sold 3 of these duplexes in the community, and our leasing agents already rented all of them out. All the units got rented out less than 30 days, and this is during this past March and April timeframe of 2020. We had no problems finding tenants, by the way. So if you look at the numbers breakdown, after the rents are around $13.95 to $14.25 in each unit, and then if you look at all the breakdown after all the taxes and monthly management fee, you're cash flowing pretty well. It's over $400 a month, but keep in mind the appreciation is a big deal on this property. And then each year we will raise the rents, which is going to increase your cash flow. So your cash flow will keep increasing each year as we raise rents. And their 15-year ROI is at 16.81%, which is really high. And then it's very low maintenance. You're not going to have to worry about maintenance for a long time with these. So it's a great deal for having the property less than $380,000. And we will walk you through the whole step of the way. I'm going on to the next property. Now this is a 4-plex I want to present. And this is still available. All units are already tenant occupied. This was built in 2000 and let me see here. Here it is, 2007. And each unit's around 1,200 square feet. So it's pretty spacious. In each unit, they all get a 1-car garage attached. Each unit has its own private fenced-in backyard. And it's very spacious. It's 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. There's a half restroom downstairs. All the bedrooms are upstairs, which makes the living area pretty spacious. It's open to the kitchen area. All appliances are included with the fridge, stove, and then the garbage disposal, dishwasher. All that's already included in each unit. And the cool thing is they're separately metered. So each unit has its own separate meter for electric. So the tenants pay their own electric, but there is one common water meter. So you would have to pay the water, which is averaging around $200 a month. But we on our own will have the tenants pay on top of their rent like $50 to $60 a month for water. So we can definitely make that accommodation to offset that. And after all, the price is really good. It's very competitive because right now they're trying to sell some other ones for like $565, This one is available for $525,000. And then after all expenses, after all monthly fixed expenses, you're almost getting $1,000 a month. It's $906 a month. And the 15-year ROI is at 18.14%, which is really good. And this location is great. It's northeast side. It's in Converse. It's a part of San Antonio. It's really close to 2 military bases. So we see a lot of military tenants in this area. Very safe. The schools are really good here. They're really good schools. The brand new IKEA is around the corner that just opened up. And we have a lot of businesses. Randolph Brooks Credit Union is headquartered just around the corner from this. So we see a lot of loan processor, banker employees that also live in this area. And it's also very close to the 2 major highways, which is 35 and 1604. And people like to be really close to the highways because they can get anywhere from there. And then the shopping centers there is amazing. It has the Forum Shopping Center, which has tons of restaurants, lots of places to eat and shop and entertain. So it's a prime location at $525,000, really good deal, and it's already tenant occupied for all 4 units. This is going to be an apartment building that I want to present. It's very close to the fourplex that I just presented. It's in Converse, which is northeast side of San Antonio. It's an apartment building, and it was built in 1985, but it's very well kept. It's an 8-unit apartment building, all tenant occupied. So this is very more like an apartment style. Each unit is the same, the floor plans. They are 2-bedroom. Each unit is 2-bedroom, 1 bath. So it's really convenient the way it's laid out. They all have balconies or patios. It's very well kept. It's very lit up. The outside has lots of light at night so that you could see the parking. Very safe area. There's not garages or covered parking, but there's a lot of parking space in this apartment for all the tenants. Plenty of parking, including for any guests. So, and it's really a great price. It's $775,000 for 8 units. That's a really good deal, especially in this nice part of San Antonio. It's a really nice area with really good schools. After all fixed expenses, you're going to be getting almost $1,500 a month cash flow. And the annual ROI for 15 years at 14.14%. But that's not including taking into consideration with us increasing rents each year. We do tend to increase rents an average of $50 a year. And that's normal in San Antonio. That doesn't scare off the tenants. It's more expensive for them to move. And that helps keep the rents at the market rent. And each year, when we increase those, you're going to get higher and higher cash flow each year. So just keep that in mind. It's a really great property. Let your advisor know if you're interested. I definitely can help you with that.
All right, thank you so much, Christina. Really excited about all of these properties, all the opportunities. San Antonio is one of our best multi-unit markets. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over now to one of our other most popular and best multi-unit markets, where we work with Ken and Terry Duffy. Terry has been our buyer's agent for our Marshall Reddick clients since 2004. She's absolutely incredible, one of my favorite people to work with, and I am really excited to see the properties that they are going to present today and hear a little bit about the Florida market. So without further ado, Ken and Terry, I'm going to send it to you guys.
Appreciate it. Kenny's going to do most of the talking on the presentation, so you're going to hear from him first, and then when we get to the properties, I'll be going over all the details of that with you.
Hey guys, thanks for joining the webinar. Kristen, as always, great to hear your voice. I'm hoping everybody's kind of getting out of lockdown. We're almost in phase 2 down here in South Florida, so I think things are back to normal. Just to tell you a little bit about Terry and I, for the guys that have been on the webinars before, you know what kind of work we can do for you guys for increasing your portfolio. South Florida, it's just cranking right along. We've, in my opinion, we had a little hiccup. Things are really moving along. Building is not really stopped because we had, the ability to necessitate construction as a necessary job. So construction never stopped. Christin, they're almost done with your duplex, which is looking awesome. So we were by there the other day. I was just taking some time to touch base on South Florida and the Cape Coral market. Of course, the entire state of Florida, we have over 300,000 people moving here on a yearly basis. That averages out to about 900 people per day. Those stats are coming from the county manager's office, and I look to U-Haul too for one-way moves. We have a huge amount of people moving down from New York because of this COVID season that we went through. They're pretty much saying, that's it, we're out. So they're coming down here. The reason Florida, why not? We are surrounded by beautiful, gorgeous waters. Cape Coral is located right here on the west coast of Florida. We're about an hour and a half south of Tampa, and we are about 2 hours west of Miami. So Cape Coral, Sanibel, Fort Myers Beach, Estero, Bonita Springs. It's a great place to raise a family. We've been here since 2000, and we absolutely love it. The environment down here is conducive, extremely conducive for businesses looking to move their world headquarters down. There are 3 world headquarters being built right now down here in South Florida. One of the big medical ones is NeoGenomics. They're building a $60 million facility right off of I-75 in Fort Myers. There is a ton of construction going on in Cape Coral. We are really crazy building in Cape Coral. They published a letter about 3 months ago from the city manager's office, and I'm going to read right from the letter. It says the demand for additional rental apartments on a yearly basis for Cape Coral stands at 1,862 units. And that's what they need every single year. So duplexes, that's why Christin's building one. The duplex market is just crazy in Cape Coral. We are seeing turnaround times where some of these houses and duplexes are rented. They have tenants in place before the final punch is even done on the building. So if you're looking to build in Cape Coral, Lehigh Acres, or we have single families out in LaBelle, we have really low price point compared to some of the other markets that Marshall Reddick's in. We are no state income tax. We obviously are a landlord-friendly state. So for your portfolio to perform really well, this area is just hot. Plus the fact that, I mean, the surroundings, if you've ever been to Florida before, you know, the West Coast over here is gorgeous. The water's beautiful. Everything in Cape Coral is either built on water or surrounded by water. So that increases your real estate value appreciation-wise. We usually average between 7 and 11% per year. We haven't seen any downturn in the market down here. Our market is very stable, very strong. We are moving into the summer months, but yet, however, I'd said we have a lot of people that are moving into South Florida because that's it. They're throwing the towel in some of these northeastern corridors where there's heavy population. So with that, I'm just going to go over some other stats. Cape Coral right now is really seeing a boom in commercial real estate. There's over $200 million in private development under construction right now on the Pine Island corridor. So if you're listening to this webinar right now, I want you to grab a pen and I want you to write down capecoral.net. And then what you're going to do is you're going to tap on the commercial development tab on capecoral.net, and it's going to download a PowerPoint of all of the commercial real estate that is under construction. There is also a video detailed on that end of that commercial development packet. And if you request from Christin or you call Terry, we can also send you guys detailed information about the area, the demographics. But you know, picture's worth 1,000 words. When we come out to California, we're always throwing videos up, current videos of what's going on in Cape Coral. The community redevelopment area is developing another massive project called the Bimini Basin Project. So you want to YouTube that. All of these things really just equate to how your property is going to perform as far as appreciation. A lot of the properties, most of them that Terry puts on the website, if you go on the Marshall Reddick website, click on the Florida tab, look at Cape Coral, all the properties cash flow. We work with specifically with builders right now that are building brand new single family homes. So we have that available. We have duplexes available. So with that, like I said, if you have any inquiries, we have other advisors as well. Anytime you call the Marshall Reddick office, ask for one of those guys and girls, and we can handle exactly what you guys need to fit into your portfolio. So let me move the next slide over. So this is kind of a map of the area. You can see Cape Coral is shaded in the yellow area. It is the landmass area, about 115 miles. Let me just back up a second. We're not like a major metropolitan area, guys. When you come down here, if you were to travel to South Florida, Terry and I would be glad to drive you around the neighborhood, show you Fort Myers, show you Cape Coral, show you Lehigh Acres, show you LaBelle. These are very, very small town feel when you get here. Cape Coral's population is just creeping up on 200,000. So we're not like in a big metropolis, but we're kind of like a vacation spot. People move and come down here from all parts of the world. We have Europeans, Canadians, they all come down because the city of Sanibel, which is down there on the left-hand side, is always on the top 10 world best beaches in the world. The water in South Florida is just gorgeous. It's beautiful. So that's what drives a lot of the market down here. We have a huge influx of tourism. However, we are seeing the median age price of people people moving here is right around 42 to 48 years old, which is huge because now we're seeing a lot of tech, a lot of medical moving into the area. We have huge hitters in the medical field called Arthrex. Like I said, NeoGenomics, Lee Health Memorial Systems. They've incorporated about 6 or 7 hospitals all into one group now. They currently just built a brand new hospital in Lehigh in South Fort Myers, which has just opened up. So there's a lot of things driving the market. I can sit here and ramble on and on and on about what's going on down here, but I just wanted to make a point that we are a nice small town field. City of Fort Myers and Lee County is right under 1 million. So we're hovering around the 800,000 mark, and then in season we usually double, triple times our influx of people coming down to the area to over 1 million, about 1.4 million. So that's what we call our snowbirds. So when they come down, they're driving the economy, they're pushing numbers with tourism, they're looking for jobs. But now we've got a great economy which is conducive to all these world headquarters wanting to move down here. So we're seeing a lot of infrastructure move in, which really makes our market very, very stable. So we'll move on to the next slide. Terry's going to hit some of the properties that we have right now available. This detailed market data packet, if you get a hold of either Christin or anybody at the office and you inquire about the Fort Myers area or Cape Coral, or reach out to Terry, her email was on one of the slides previously and her cell phone number as well. Just reach out to her and we can get things moving in the right direction. So the detailed market, the data packet has a lot of information in it that we really can't cover on the website or these webinars. So, all right, so Terry's going to take over and go over some of these properties that we just put on the hot sheets, and I'll let her take it from there.
All right. This is one of our first new builds that we've had access to in Lehigh Acres, and I'm super excited about this one. If any of you have been on the website and looked at the single family homes that we've been selling in LaBelle, this is the same builder. So I don't have the inside photos yet because this is the first one going up. They're only building 4 of these right now. So it'd be great if we could get a hold of all 4 of these. The price point on this is awesome at $270,000. Every other builder in Lehigh Acres that's building the duplexes are starting at $300,000. So just for the simple fact that we have such a great long-term relationship with this builder, we're getting them for $270,000, so $30,000 below, anything else that's on the market. So these are going to cash flow great. If you want to go down through them, they're going to rent for about $12.95 a piece. Got the taxes in there, the insurance. We have no HOA fees. You won't see any HOA fees on any of the properties that I post on the Marshall Reddick side, just because I veer away from HOA fees because they take out of your profit margin. And the whole purpose for investment properties is to make money. So if you go down, the monthly income on this is going to be a little over $1,000 a month. And even after all the maintenance, estimated cost, vacancy estimated, and all of that over a 15-year period, you're still going to have, over $200 a month cash flow. Our vacancy rate here over the past 5 years has been about 4%. So we do really well with that. And Kenny talked about the duplexes being such a hot commodity in Cape Coral. They rent faster than the single family homes do in Cape Coral. Normally our property management company literally has these rented, within 2 weeks of closing. And a lot of times, if they can get in and start showing them ahead of time, they're rented before closing. So if you can read down here, you can kind of read all this through yourself, so I won't waste much time. It just gives you a highlight of some of the, what's going to be on the interior. They always give us granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, everything nice. These are going to be 1,200 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, plus a garage. So I'm super excited about these here. All right, the next one is a resale in Lehigh that we're going to go to, and this is basically the typical duplex that we deal with in Lehigh on a resale basis. Price of $245. Normally we can get these anywhere from, depending on what's in them, $235. They're priced all the way up to in the the 260s. So, but the biggest, I guess, one of the best things we have about our area is we have really good appreciation, and we have cash flow. I don't have hardly any properties on the website that have a negative cash flow, even after all of the the estimated expenses that you're going to deal with over a 15-year period. This one here shows almost $95 a month cash flow on top of everything else. Once again, you can go through, look at the taxes. We have, fairly low taxes. The insurance I get directly from our insurance guys. So those are pretty spot on, except once he talks to you, he gets your age and, pulls credit and stuff like that. And so that's where the fluctuation in that would come. Obviously with our Marshall Reddick, everybody gets the 8% discounted rental fee, which is nice. Utilities in Lehigh Acres is on well and septic. So the $55 is normally for salt service into your water system. And we advise that you have the property management do that, just because then your salt system's taken care of. If you have a tenant that doesn't put the salt in there, then you could have problems with that. And then this is landscaping. The tenants can take care of the landscaping if you have that done. A lot of the times we just recommend that you have the property management do it, just to ensure that the lawn is getting cut on a regular basis and keep trimmed up, so your property always looks nice aesthetically. These are basically 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Same thing. This is a 2008. This one's 1,100 square feet. Nice garage on both sides. And this one's fully rented right now. It's a little bit below. It's like $50 below market value because the tenants are already in there. And so this is a previous rent. And so down here, I'll put all the information that I can get from the current listing agent on these. So this one actually it expires the end of this month. So by rights, they could raise this $50 if they want to. We don't have any control on that until we have it under contract. All right, but right here, monthly income, a little over $700. We're going on to Cape Coral. This is a new build in Cape Coral. This is another builder that we've done about 8 of these duplexes with. And every one of these has been rented. I mean, everyone within 2 weeks of closing. The last 2 that we closed on were rented. One was rented within 2 weeks, and one was rented before we even closed on it in both sides. So you'll see that Cape Coral's a bit higher priced. These are on city utilities. Anything in Cape Coral that's further up in the north is still on well and septic. The Cape Coral is going through a utility expansion plan, and they started in the south and just have been working their way property by property and putting in city utilities. When they get to the property that you own, they knock on your door basically and they say, we're going to put in the city utilities, and then you get hit as an owner with about a $25,000 assessment. You can pay it up front, or you have the option of having it spread out over 10 years into your property taxes. So I've made a deal with this particular builder that he pays all the assessments prior to closing, so that doesn't come back on you guys. But you'll see that's a big difference between properties in Lehigh Acres and properties in Cape Coral, or properties in the north of Cape Coral compared to the south of Cape Coral. So if they are on a well and septic still, pretty soon within this year up to 8 years away, they're going to be put on city utilities. And so there's always a price difference depending on location. These always get $1,295 in rent per side. The 3-bedroom, 2-bath, usually 1,200 to 1,250 square feet. Once again, really nice monthly income, and even after all the estimated, vacancy rate, maintenance rate over 15 years, you're still going to average a monthly cash on cash return of over almost $145 there. So these are nice. And I think we've got this builder I'm working with. He's got 3 of these coming up to be completed in the near future right now. This is a triplex. So when we get out of the duplexes, we do not find a lot of higher multiple units in our area because most people just hang on to them. So when they come up, they're rare. So this is the only triplex that is available in Cape Coral, to my knowledge, right now. Got 3 units, 2 beds, 2 bath on each side. About 1,100, little over 1,100 square feet per unit. I believe these are they're tiled throughout. They're pretty nice, renovated on the outside, on the inside. They've each got a garage, and these are rented. I've got the rents down here. One's at month to month at 1,100, which would be market value. This one here is a little bit lower, so it can be raised. All of these can be raised. The rent amount that I put on here is what I know our property management can get us after we close. Sometimes we have to wait a little bit and honor the leases that are in place and then raise them once that expiration comes up. But once again, no HOAs. On this one here, no utilities because it's on city utilities with all the assessments paid. So that's nice. You don't have to worry about anything else like that. And you still have a good monthly cash on cash return. And the ROI is almost 16%. So these are nice. And I think the next one we have is a 4-plex. Kind of got a variety. This is nice. Christin, as a matter of fact, this is literally right next door to your duplex that's almost finished.
I noticed that when I saw the address, Terry. I was like, oh, Skyline, they're going to be my neighbors.
It is. It's a really nice looking building. They redid the whole parking lot and everything right here. And the kind of funny story because we pulled up to yours one time and we pulled into this driveway and the owner agent came out and asked us not to park on this driveway because it's a brand new driveway. And he only wants attendance parking there, so he's keeping track of that. But this is nice. This is fully rented also. You can read all the details down here, getting $4,600 a month in rent right now. All new, the whole place is newly renovated. You got hurricane impact windows, new electric, new doors, brand new everything in there. So this is a beautiful place. And once you go down, $1,232 monthly income, and even after, once again, all the estimated additional, this money here that's estimated, this is what's going into your check that you're collecting. This is just amounts that they're asking you to, put aside because you are going to have some maintenance over 15-year time. You are going to have some vacancy over a 15-year time. So these are all estimations of that. But even after that, this is still what, like the lowest you would come out with at the end. And this one's almost 17% ROI. So this is a gorgeous, gorgeous place. Well, I actually had the property management. One of them called me and asked me, do you think anybody will take this in the Marsha Reddick group? Because she really wants to manage it.
Perfect. Thanks, Terry. This property looks really, really nice. I'm really excited to see all the building going up, especially down the street from a property of my own. I know a lot of really cool stuff has been happening down there. We had a question come in with regard to hurricanes. You did mention that all the new construction does have hurricane rated windows. Can you touch on a few of the other building requirements in terms of hurricane safety and how often or likely hurricane activity actually is in your area?
Sure, that's always one of the questions that comes up from the investors. All of our stuff is hurricane rated, like the windows and stuff, to 180 miles an hour. But I'm going to let Ken touch on that a little bit because he's more on the construction end. And he can kind of tell you how everything's tie-beamed in together with the roof and stuff like that.
So when we build down here in South Florida, the standards were changed back in 1988 when Hurricane Andrew blew through Miami. It caused massive devastation because the houses were built with wood frame structures. So when they set the standard and changed it way back when, the wind speeds continually are going up and up with regards to how strong they build the houses. So the houses are all built with concrete block. They pour a slab on the ground, then they pour the walls, and the concrete block goes up, and then they pour another cap, which is called a tie beam, around the top of the house. And there's rebar that runs through these concrete walls, ties it into the foundation. And then the foundation has rebar that goes into the ground about 10 or 15 feet. And they're like, figure a house like on stilts, but those stilts are buried in the ground. So the houses are designed to horizontally withstand winds of up to 200 miles an hour. The windows, they are rated as well. The same way you would have a windshield in a car when something hits your windshield and the glass doesn't shatter, all the windows down here are hurricane impact rated, which means they run a layer of Lexan, which is a high carbonate fiber film between two layers of glass. And that literally will stop anything from coming through the window as far as a projectile. What that really does for the houses down here when they're built, and this is for duplexes, hotels, anything that is built in the state of Florida meets the same hurricane code. What that does is increases the efficiency of the house. So if you have an air conditioning system, the house is not going to leak anything. There's no way for the air to get out and no way for the air to get in. They do have ability to breathe. The houses do have ability to breathe through the attic space. But basically, that's how the houses are built. With regards to hurricane, we've been here 20 years. There are plenty of storms that come up through the Gulf of Mexico, or they come through the Straits of the Caribbean. Most of the time, they usually hit the trade winds and they'll veer to the northeast on the east side. I would say 90% of the hurricanes or tropical storms that develop, they always come from the East Coast. So the Miami side usually takes, the brunt of the storms. They really are storms. Hurricanes, if you watch the news, you think it's doom and gloom, like everybody's running for the hills when it comes down here. We're so acclimated to it, like in California, you guys have, earthquakes. We usually most storms that we have heavy, heavy wind events, but everything around here is designed to withstand those high winds. A year and a half ago, we had Hurricane Irma came through. The eye of the storm directly went straight over Naples, Florida. For those of you guys that don't know, I am a fireman down here. I've been a fireman for 16 years, so I was on that storm for probably 96 hours straight, and we literally got hit by 160-mile-an-hour winds, and there was very, very, very little structural damage. As a matter of fact, the new office that Marshall Reddick just opened up in Cape Coral, they basically had less than 3 insurance claims that paid out on over 250 properties that Marshall Reddick managed for them. And they were very minor damages, like shingle tiles that maybe came loose. So with regards to building and hurricanes, yeah, we got them. We got alligators too, but they're everywhere and they don't bother you. The storms really don't bother us down here. We, of course, prepare for them, but I can assure you that the structures will absolutely withstand it. And that's indicative by the insurance rates too. When Terry gets insurance quotes on all of her properties, hurricane insurance is included in the property. So it's not an extra thing that you got to pay. It's all added into it. And down here, in South Florida, everything's affordable and the insurance is affordable. Otherwise, these properties wouldn't work, for the Marshall Reddick Group. So I hope I answered any questions. If anybody has any questions they want to go into further, please reach out to Terry. Reach out to me. I'll be glad to spend, if it takes an hour on the phone with you, I could shoot you information on building specs if you're that type of person that really gets into what's going on with construction. So hopefully I answered that question and didn't go too long.
The other question comes up sometimes is flood zones because of the hurricanes. And Cape Coral, flood zones are determined per address. It's not like just a section. And you can be on a canal and you can be off a canal, and it just depends on the elevation of your property. And that's something that I can check right on the MLS when I'm pulling up properties to find out if it's in a flood zone or not. And I literally stay away from anything in a flood zone unless it's an older property that is a really larger building, normally an 8-unit or a 10-unit or something like that, which are more toward the downtown areas of Cape Coral, and almost all of those are in a flood zone. But people know that, and they still want to keep the properties. I don't think I have anything on the website right now that's in a flood zone. Because like I said, I just try to stay away from that, just like HOAs, because anything extra cost that takes away from your profit is not what I'm looking to do. Okay, this is a great property. It's a great buy. It's going to have low insurance. It's a 2004, but because everything's new in it, it's nice. So this would definitely be a good investment. All right, and the last one I have on here is actually a 5-unit, and this is a really good investment also. This is a little bit older, but the units have been renovated for $525,000. This is awesome. It's fully rented. On these rents are pretty close to market value from what our property management has told us also. All of them are tiled on the inside. You can go on the Marsh Reddick website, and there's all the inside photos that are posted there anyways. One of the unit is occupied by the owner's sister, and so that one is under market rent because he made a deal with her that she could stay there. So that's just something that we'll deal with, but we're compensating by, getting it for a little bit lower price than it's listed. I think it's like it's a pocket listing, but he's got like $550. So he is a little bit negotiable on this one. The units were renovated in 2012. They all have brand new ACs. The roof was replaced in 2004. Once again, look down. You can see how nice it cash flows. Your monthly income just over $1,800 a month, right there. So that's nice. The ROI is almost $1,700. So these are just great properties to get. Like I said, price-wise, it's for a 5-unit. This is awesome. So like Kenny said, if you have any other additional questions on properties, feel free to reach out to me. Cape Coral's booming on this, and there's not very many multi-properties over duplexes that are being built right now. So like I said, when they come along, we get excited because they don't last long either.
Perfect. Thanks, Terry. Thank you so much for the clarification on the rent and for the presentation on the properties. Again, I want to thank you for your time, you and Ken, for being on tonight.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Had a blast.
And we are going to go ahead and jump into Orange County, my own local market, and a lot of my clients' local area as well. We're going to talk a little bit about that market, and then we'll get everything wrapped up here for you guys to get about your days. There is a lot of great multi-unit properties in the area, and a lot of Southern California single families I've seen in the past few weeks have been dropping in price ever so slightly. But the good news for investors is that the multi-unit space and the rental space is holding really strong here. There's a lot of essential workers in Orange County. There are a lot of jobs, a lot of people that are still working. And if we take a quick look at the snapshot here, we can see that the trend has been up. And when we see numbers like, 1.8%, 4.9%, 6%, these are definitely numbers that show us that the market in Orange County is getting to a point where we are still increasing in value, but it's happening a little bit more slowly and in a fashion that's more stable and more consistent. If we look back to 2013, where there was a 20% jump in value, something like that is not sustainable. And, jumps like that, increases like that, that can't be maintained often lead to crashes, like we saw in 2008 with the inflation in the years prior. So good news for Orange County. The outlook is strong. Properties are still moving, and Marshall Reddick manages several properties in the Orange County area, and we have not seen a slowdown in rental. So also great news for our owners and for our people that are out there looking to buy properties now. Here's one in Eastside Costa Mesa. I actually grew up over there, so I saw this property listed and thought it'd be an excellent one to showcase for today's presentation. List price is actually a tad above 1.6. So your down payment, again, as a duplex is going to be a required 25%. and closing costs are there as well. So you can see all the financials here. Utilities and landscaping are often expenses that are going to fall onto the owner in multi-unit properties. This property has 1 meter for both units, so that's where your utilities are coming from. The good news is there's no HOA, and your management fee is a very reasonable 7% when you use Marshall Reddick management. So this property, while on a monthly basis may not be the most impressive that we have showcased this morning, what California really is more about is the appreciation and gaining that equity and having that over time, so that when you do look at selling, if it's a 1031 exchange or some kind of refinance where you're pulling some money out, your 15-year projected profit on a property like this is almost $700,000. And there's not many areas where you can purchase an asset and hold it for that length of time that's going to turn into a value that's a value like that, where that's potentially what you could get out of a sale. So 6-bedroom, 4-bath, it's a little bit older. Most of the properties in East Side Costa Mesa are, but this property has been redone on the inside. It's already fully occupied and would really make a great investment for those of you looking in the California area. So here's one in Anaheim, a little bit less expensive. Again, this is where we're talking about the difference in property class. And East Side Costa Mesa property is going to fall into your A-class category. You're going to spend a little bit more money. You're going to have the potential to get a little bit higher rents and thus likely increase your tenant quality. This property, I've taken us to the other side of the spectrum. So this is definitely a C-class property based on price and location. A little bit older, but the good news about a property like this is that with a list price of under $700,000, we've defaulted this to a 30% down payment. You're going to pull in about $3,500 in rent. And after everything is said and done, this property has the potential to run a positive income of about $250 a month. Taking into consideration the estimates, if there are repairs needed or something needs to be done to the property, this is where it could run you into the negatives. But again, your appreciation and the return on investment is really what our California buyers are looking for. So your ROI here is 8.5%. Again, if you wanted to look at those cash on cash and cap rate numbers, you'd be able to find that on the Marshall Reddick website. If you'd like to connect with us on social media, we promise to keep it positive and only say great things. There's a lot of negativity out there. So here at Marshall Reddick Real Estate, we want to work, with our people to help you continue to invest and continue to help you guys to kind of get through these tough, uncertain times by helping walk you through some investment decisions and helping you make a sound decision with your investment portfolio. You can do that by scheduling a consultation. So if you have an advisor that you're already working with, you can have this conversation with them. If you're not working with anybody already and you would like to, I would love to speak with every one of you so that we can kind of talk about what your investment goals are, why you have decided to join this morning's presentation, and talk through your criteria, talk through what you're looking for, what your financial situation is, so that ultimately we can help get you connected to everybody that will help you through the transaction, make sure you get everything dialed in. And why is that important? It's important because at the end of the day, you want to be able to create a scalable portfolio that can help you achieve your goals, whether that's more income, whether that's an early retirement, whatever your individual needs and goals are, you want to be able to create a plan on achieving them. So I'll leave you with this again, and this wouldn't be possible. A portfolio like this isn't possible without a mentor, without a plan. and without someone being able to help you put all the moving pieces into place. So for those of you who are looking to accomplish something like this, again, I'm always available to talk about my experience, lend some advice and some mentoring to all of my clients, and help you to create your own path to success, if you will. Here's my contact information. You can reach out to me directly. And if you are interested in arranging a call or being connected with Terry or Christina, but you'd like to have a conversation with me first, or maybe you're not really sure which market you'd like to purchase in, but you are definitely looking at making an investment purchase and need a little bit more time, need a little bit more information, we can discuss that as well. So you can call me, email me, and I look forward to speaking to everybody at some time. I want to thank again our agents, Christina Dorier in San Antonio and Ken and Terry Duffy down in Cape Coral, Florida. It was a pleasure being on with you guys this morning. Really excited to see you all again, whether it be here in California or whether I get myself to Texas or Florida. And for all of you joining us on your lunch break or from your couch or whatever your situation may be today, we appreciate you as well and look forward to speaking to everybody. Thanks again and have a great day.